We are not easy to manage. I mean, just try be the leader of a WhatsApp group. You don't even need to go far. Just try be the leader of a WhatsApp group of only Africans and put in the rules there. It will shock you the kind of trauma you're going to go through. So and that's all our fault. It's the what do you call this thing now? It's the military era. The military era dealt with us so that the average African is literally looking for what you call external regulation. So it's not easy. And the other thing is trust. And trust is a reservoir. And that's the last point. So I'll yield the mic shortly. So trust is a big issue. It's a very big issue among Africans. Um, Recently, we saw the death of top CEO in the banking industry. And after he's dead now, go look at the kind of conversations coming up around his business partners. If something happens and you're my business partner, and let's say someone dies, how would my estate be treated? And the conversation is very morbid. It's a lot of unnecessary competitive rivalry, even among partners in a business. So all those factors make it very complex to trust anyone or to yield. But be that as it may, there is some investment. There's some Africans who are trying to collaborate, honestly, but we don't have a sound culture of mutual community, especially once money comes to the table. It's very complex to marriage. Indians have very advanced systems of managing themselves, no matter the amount of money. Same for Chinese people. They dare not lie to each other. They dare not steal each other's money. Even within the Lebanese communities, they dare not steal each other's money. They dare not. There's a system in place where they collect the money back. In fact, they are hyper honest to each other. Some of them are so strong they don't marry.
Coach David, we lost you. Lost your voice. I don't know what's happened. What happened? You're still unmuted, but we can't hear you. It was getting so good. It really was getting good. Some realism is what I call it. I'm sure Coach David will come back in a second. Let me welcome you, Elizabeth. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you spending your time with us. Also, I see you, Joni. Welcome, Joni. Thank you for joining us too. Padre, welcome as well. Thank you all for joining us. Coach David, we lost you for a second. You were talking about some other cultures, ethnic groups don't marry, and then that's where you stop.
Yes. I mean, so stronger is the Indian code that they don't marry outside the Indian community, even when they're in diaspora. It's not easy to break the code amidst them. But for Africans, we easily badmouth each other. Bless you. We easily betray each other. The list is long. So it's a very complex issue. And thanks for highlighting it. It's not easy. Good friends become enemies because of money. I mean, as simple as what you call ajo in English, monthly contributions. Just get 3 friends or 4 friends or 5 friends or 10 friends and begin to discuss. And before you know it, we can't even once money is on the table, we can't collaborate. Michael says something. Forget about making money as an investor. Know that you make a loss in the beginning. Women have a tendency being successful and honest using their small money, their business and benefit because you back them. All right. Awesome.
I see what you see. I see. Go on. How do you respond to Michael?
Well, women are. You see, I'm careful of hasty generalization. Men are extremely difficult to support because of trust and competition. Men have a lot of ego. That's true. And if you want to do large enterprise business, I have some business models that has proven that women are better supporters than men because men want their own thing psycho-emotionally because of testosterone. I understand that psychology. But generally, if you study businesses among the tribes, Africa is probably the least business enterprise prone. There's research across the different bodies of knowledge. There's research that shows that Africans don't have sufficient business case within our ranks. We have few African businesses that are third, fourth, fifth generation, but we have them in Europe, we have them in India, we have them in the Lebanese community, we have them all around Asia. When it comes to Africa, it's slightly tough. Yeah, so that's my take. We have a social cultural issue that doesn't allow us to work well with each other. Yeah.
It's an interesting one. You know, Michael, thank you so much for your message. I wish you joined us in the studio. You know, look, Henry and Dr. Isaac, I'll say this for sure. If I'm gonna make a loss, I'm not bringing my money. Simple as that. If I'm not gonna make a return on my investment, I'm not bringing you my money. Full stop. End of, right? That's not an argument. That's a fact. Investment is meant to make a return for me. Otherwise, I might just go outside and throw it down the drain, right? Which I won't do.
Yeah, you. Yes, you are.
I just want to say.
Who's that?
Go on, Isaac.
Henry.
You are very correct.
Go on, Henry.
Yeah, you are very correct.
I just want to say the.
One sec, Dr. Isaac. Go on, Henry.
Well, basically, you know, I saw the comment from Michael, which is a good soundbite. You know, one of the challenges I see with this whole investment stuff is that we tend to, obviously, it's good to have someone on the ground, right, to manage your investment, and we tend to pass it on to our family members or our friends. And you'll find that, you know, half of these people, maybe they don't even have the right education or skills or qualifications to manage this sort of project. But we, you know, like someone mentioned about trust, that is a very, very big thing. Maybe we're too paranoid because, you know, with investments and stuff, a lot of it is risk. Maybe we don't take enough risks. But we end up maybe trying to empower somebody, you know, whether it's a lady or, you know, your cousin or your family member, you end up trying to empower them and putting them in that position, yet they were never ready. And then when the investment goes down the drain, they start having a different conversation. So that's my take. But, you know, again, you know, it's a risk. If you don't take, look, there's lots of examples of good investments. There's lots of examples of bad ones too. But ultimately, if the foundations are not right, you don't do things the right way, you are going to have an issue. I'll let Isaac talk, if you don't mind.
No, for sure. Look, I hear what you're saying, Henry, and I agree with you. Every investment is a risk. You know, and you know, maybe you're right. You know, I think, you know, Dr. Isaac said the same thing. Having someone on the ground definitely helps. But I think, as well as the technical skills, I think, you know, as Coach David was saying, the issue is partly to do with our mindset. You know, I don't say that lightly. So when I was growing up, there was a timber yard opposite my dad's compound. If you've been in my room before, I'm sure you've heard the story. So, you know, I would say forgive me, but, you know, do forgive me. But it's an important story because I think it's symptomatic. It's what frames my view of why would I not throw money in Africa, basically, right? So then there was a timber yard. The timber yard had been there all through my life, right? You know, and essentially it was owned by a family. You know, Uncle Shaka, you know, he was the one who owned it. And one day, of course, the man died. He had 2 sons. These 2 sons could not sort out the inheritance. You know what they did? They burnt this timber yard down. They burnt the whole business down. They'd rather burn it down than find a way to work together. That's Coach David's point. It's a ludicrous way to be. It's ridiculous. Now, my grandmother died, maybe 40 years ago, right? She died, and there's 9 kids in the family, working a couple of died since, I'm saying, but literally, they have never resolved her will. They still fight over it. Granddad died 30 years ago, maybe 25 years ago, to be fair, right? Again. Those 9 kids are still fighting over his will. I'm only to find out that the eldest, my uncle, has sold the inheritance, is sold the land that granddad left to each person. He sold the land, because he's the firstborn. He sold the land several times. Is he rich? No, of course not. Is he greedy? Of course he is. And it's just bad behavior that comes from a terrible mindset. Mr. Hebron, I don't know what your camera is doing. I don't know whether you can talk or not, but hopefully I'll come to you soon enough. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the topic, right? It's a problem. No, you're fine. You're fine now. Because you were stuck in some funny angle. Joni, I'll happily bring you up on stage, soon enough. Anyway, like I say, look, Granddad is his will is still being fought over. And I think the family's taking this eldest son to court. Don't try and imagine what would happen when the people who have bought these parcels of land realize that they've been conned. This is not a one-off thing. This is a thing. This is symptomatic. I'm saying this is when we talk about trust, Henry. When we talk about trust, this is the things that we have to change fundamentally. We can't be this way inclined. We can't be this way. This is how we are. Michael says, invest in your children, without knowing whether it will be a great investment. It's always a great investment because my children will grow up, Michael, and they will have a life. That's what my investment's for. It's not for me to decide what they become. No, that's not my thing. Right? I want them to grow and have choices in life, right? We don't invest in Africa. We don't throw investment. Investment is a thing that involves return, my friends. If there's no return, I'm not investing. I'd rather keep the money in the bank. I'd rather go and waste it down the road and throw it down the drain. I say, if you're gonna say to me, Annie, bring your money and invest in this company, I want a return. There must be a return, a considerable return, I dare say. I don't see it in Africa. I don't see that. I know there's opportunities. Of course there are. Many things we have in Africa underdeveloped, right? Of course they are. If you want to build roads, go to Africa. God knows they need roads, right? Are you going to make your money from the roads? No. Are you going to make money from fintech? No. Again, I can go back to my uncle. This firstborn uncle of ours, right? In 1980, this man turned around to all of us. I've got it, he said. I've got it. I know, I've got it. Guaranteed riches and fortunes. You have to see where I grew up, my friends. One of my uncles had older Mercs from the Jeep down to 2-seater, all of them in gold. Uncle Victor. Uncle Vasco, he had all of them in gold, right? And we were like, wow, man, what do? You must be, you're rich, right? So my uncle used to come along and say to us, I've got it, I've got the idea. We're like, what? He says, telecoms. I want to create a telecoms company. Connect people over the internet. Like, what the hell are you talking about? Yeah, of course, now we look back. That was a killer idea. That was a great idea. Did my uncle ever start this company? No. Where is he now? Still, conning people and scamming people rather than scamming family, even worse, right? That's why I'm so disappointed and so not trusting of putting my money in Africa. Someone tell me otherwise. Pastor Hebron, what's your take? I'll go to Dr. Isaac again.
Well, thank you very much, Annie, and the rest for share it. Just before maybe I just put my comment, let me just read something here. Let me read something here, which says, every appearance, I'm reading from a quote from a book, The Science of Getting Rich, chapter 4, just one line, some few lines. It says, every appearance in the visible world tends to produce a corresponding form in the mind which observe it. And this can only be prevented by holding the thought of the truth. Now, look here. You see now, the more we talk about Africa being corrupt, the more we kind of like we see that visible kind of form, whereby the more we observe that, the more we're looking at that, then what is being formed in our mind is corruption. And the law of there's a law called the law of attraction, whereby you attract who you are, or you attract who you have become. So the more we think, the more we observe, the more we look into corruption, then we become corrupt inside, and therefore we continue attracting corruption. But the truth is that I don't know where with this. I don't know. It's Henry say that the truth is this: that there are people who are not corrupt. That is the truth. It might not look like it's a very big number, but the truth is that there are people who are not corrupt, and so we have to start changing our mindset. I think there's a question you asked: why is Africa poor? And again, I go back to the issue of mindset. I think we have been brainwashed to think that we are poor. But you see now, when we are poor in our mind, then whatever we produce things, we produce an environment which look like it's poor. But the truth of the matter is Africa is not poor in terms of resources, in terms of, like, for example, we have massive land. That is, I like somebody say that we have virgin land. We have massive land, like in Kenya, where I'm seated here. There's a massive land. For example, like we have a park, national park we called Tsavo National Park, and Tsavo National Park sits on a land more than 4 million acres of land. It's just sitting there. It's just idle, and it's just animals. And in Kenya, in where I am seated here, we have more than 40 million acres of land that is not utilized. So when we're talking about this issue about Africa, we can say that Africa is rich in terms of resources. But one of the things where we are poor is our mind. Yeah. We are poor in our mind. Secondly, we are poor in our management because we don't know how to manage our resources. Thirdly, we have been brainwashed by the issue of relief. And recently in Kenya, there is Trump said made a statement that he's going to withdraw all kind of NGOs working in Africa and especially in Kenya. And there was a very big outcry because the NGOs is like kind of they are not showing the impact, or they're not showing what exactly are they doing. And when I had that, I say, for me, I say is that this is the right way to go, because we have been brainwashed. We have been taught to think relief, to think that people can come to help us, or we must get people to help us. I must say this, that we are living at the masses of God, the masses of God in courts, whereby we are waiting for people to help us. But in reality, we have all resources around us. And one of the things I want to say that why should you invest in Africa, and especially in Kenya, and where should you invest right now? Somebody said something here when the war with Ukraine came. I remember in Kenya, 85% of the wheat come from Ukraine and Russia. 85%. But we have massive land that we can produce the wheat, we can produce the rice. I think 75% of the rice comes from Pakistan and India. But we have the land, we have the water that we can produce our own rice, we can produce our own food. But because we are poor in our mind, because we were told that we cannot do it, or we are not able to work, we are not able to till the land is lying idle. So I think it is it's a high time now that Africans will start rising up, and the diaspora is a time now you come back and invest in Africa, because that is your home. This is your home, this is your homeland, whereby you are supposed to come and invest so that you can produce. We can produce now, for example, food production. We have the land which we can produce food, all kind of food, bananas, fruits, mangoes, every kind of fruits we can produce in our land. Secondly, sorry, another thing I wanted to say that we can invest in.
We lost Pastor Hebron. That wasn't me, I promise you. Now, who was talking? Was that you, Ima? I think that was you, right? Okay. Yeah, Pastor Hebron, you're back. Excellent. Yeah.
Can I go ahead with my contribution?
Yes, please. Yes, go ahead, my friend.
Okay. I want to say.
I want to answer some of Pastor Hebron's comments. Pastor Hebron, I'll come back to you in a second. Let's hear from Dr. Isaac, and let's see what he has to say.
Yeah, I want to say thank you once again for giving us this platform for us to be able to contribute. I want to 100% concur with the submission of Pastor Hebron. Currently, with the tariff imposition that Trump is putting on some of the European country or Canada or whatever, you will find out that the cost of commodity is going to be very, very increased. And now, which African people from that side now begin to depend on African, especially in the area of survivors. Now, when you are talking, yes, I quite agree with you that investors are like soa. They always want to get back their return. They want their return back, especially in 100-fold or more than 100-fold, if I may quote. But this is where the wisdom comes from. There is every investors, if you want to invest in Africa, there is need for you to do a follow-up. That is, you must see how you don't just sit down afar when you are sending your money for somebody to be investing for you. That is number one. Number two, you don't use your money to play a familiarity, or when you are thinking that this is my family, let him be the one to supervise it or to manage it for me. It can put your investment into the risk. Then number three, you must come on ground. That's why I talk about security the other time. I have someone we are going into farming, whatever, especially in the area of food production. We were discussing, he sent a message on the platform that somebody told him to come and buy some acres of land in Benue State. And I sent her a message that Benue State in Nigeria is not a safe environment currently because of the operations of the bandits. You can't just go and put money there and you go to the farm and they come and kidnap you. Why? Because they want to drain you financially. So the area of security must be put into consideration, It's not only Nigeria that is having a security challenge. We have other countries in Africa that are having a security challenge. So if you are going into farming, you must look at the area where there is no security threat. Then number two, you also need to consider the climate change. Where are you going to put your farming that you think about irrigation system? So you need to consider that. Then number three, there's one of the speakers that talk about that. Yes, we may not have money, but we have the technologies. You may not put a fund, but you can deploy a technology which you can commit to the hand of your manager or supervisors. Then, because sometimes there's something you involve yourself. So you look at the aspect where the investors can be directly and indirectly involved. It's going to be a very high risk. If you are putting your money, your investment somewhere, you are not there to supervise. Then the last aspect is, what type of project do you want to do? If you want to go into estate development, you look at the area where you want to put it. Is it environment where the housing is on high demand, either in sale or in renting? So the survey doing, I've forgotten you must try to see how you can do a survey and master the master survey of where you want to put your investment. Then you also need to consider what is the government policy towards what you want to do in time of in time of the tax and etc. So you must do your home research very well. Then you look at the environment which is going to be conducive, and you don't just build your confidence on information that the third party is giving to you. It's either you be on ground to get accurate information, or you say somebody who you trust, who is very close to you, that can give you accurate information or database of whatever you want to do. And I want to tell you this: you need to start developing trust in Africa. Yes, Africa is corrupt, but I want to tell you this, that we are not the most corrupted continent in this world. Even when you talk about the corruption, the Asians are corrupted than us. Because if they are not corrupting than us, they will not, yes, in the name of project or money exchange, stealing, our minerals. Why? Because our own citizens are afraid of bringing their money. Then the Chinese will bring their money into Africa. Then indirectly, you see them bargain with our government in the minerals exchange. So it is high time for those who are in diasporas begin to think inward, think of let them ready to face the risk. Somebody said that it is a risk if you cannot take a risk. So thank you, sir.
Thank you. Much wisdom there, my friend. Much wisdom there. Let me welcome, superstar, superwoman, Margaret Martinez, one of my co-authors on the book that you see behind me, Lessons We Learned from COVID. So I'm so glad you're here. So we're going to do a parenting room soon. We tend to talk about parenting in Africa. So again, one of the issues that bugs me, because I think we are far behind the trend and best practice, call it that, right? So I'm glad you're here, Margaret. Thank you for joining us. Connect with her, go along to her rooms on Go Brunch and also on LinkedIn. So you can connect with her. She's put some amazing rooms, so definitely make friends and let's support each other. LinkedIn user, you can't see comments. I don't know why, because the comments are there. I lost mine on StreamYard, but please put your name. I can't see you on my LinkedIn page. I don't know why I can't see you. I am trying. Oh, okay. Turi, it's you that can't see comments. Okay, that's all right. That's all right. Many good comments. So when Michael says when your children are in Africa, you end up investing in Africa in some way or another. Right. Now, I don't think you're, again, this is, I guess this answers partly to Dr. Isaac's points just now. Us in the diaspora, we have no intention, no reason to come back with or without our money. I'm not going to take my kids to Nigeria. My son wants to come to Nigeria and live there. So I'm like, you go, son. I'm not coming with you. I've got a life of Riley, safe, it's green. I've got everything I need. My money grows every day. I get paid. Crime is low. Everything just works. Corruption, it might be there, but we don't get to see it. I'm sure it's there somewhere, right? Someone's making money somewhere, but it doesn't affect my life. Again, I don't know why I would risk all of that to go and spend my money. I say spend, give it away is what it looks like to me. So now, look, I'm curious about Dr. Isaac's point about this new trend where we have Chinese and Russians investing in Africa. What is it that really underpins all of that? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Is it helping us? No. So my conversation today really is about, I guess maybe it's about how do we create businesses that work for us? How do we create jobs for professionals in Africa? How do we create businesses that are profitable? I say that's why we want investment, right? We want investment that really helps our communities, not just investment for the sake of it. Like from Pastor Hebron's point, I think is proof that just having money thrown at us as Africans in Africa hasn't worked. Us coming across as donation pots, it hasn't helped us. We must use that money, the investment money, to build our communities, to build our professionals, to build our businesses. Pastor Hebron, you fell off for a second. Elliot, welcome. You said you would join us. I'm glad you were here. Thank you so much for joining us. Pastor Hebron, I'm back to you, my friend. And I say you fell off halfway through.
Yeah, sure.
Right? Please carry on.
Yeah, I don't know at what point I fell off. But I think I was trying to say that
you made a point that we have everything around us. We have everything we need. We doesn't just see it.
Yeah, I was saying that we have everything we need. So I think we need to change our mind. We need to change our minds. I think it's a high time now, because when I was saying that in January when we began, Trump made a statement that they are going to withdraw a lot of support, especially in most of the NGOs. And right now, so many of them have been closed up. And when I heard that news, personally, I was happy because we have been living with relief. And this kind of relief thing, relief mentality, depending on the Americans, depending on the Westerners, depending on kind of relief food, relief assistance, it has crippled us. It has crippled us because we cannot think. We cannot think that we can have solution for our own problems. I believe that I was put in Africa because I have a solution in Africa. I have a solution for Africa. That's why I was born an African, and I was born in a village in Africa. And the resources that I have around is that because I was created to come to bring a solution. And because sometimes when we have depended on kind of NGOs and relief, our mentality, our mind, we cannot reason, we cannot think, because we cannot think outside the box. So I was saying that it's a high time that we begin to think, how do we create jobs? For example, we have many ways we can invest. I was saying we have land here, we can invest in food production. And when we invest in food production, and we are also creating jobs for our own people, for our own youth, for our own people who are living in Africa or are living in Kenya, for that matter. And also, there's other area is that we can invest in real estate. We can invest in building modern houses, whereby now, if we invest in building houses, they will also bring a return. Because I know most of the people are saying that I have to invest so that I can get return. There are things you can invest in Africa and you get return. For example, food production, you'll get return. When you talk about issues of real estate, we have land, we have massive land which we can build cities, we can build estates. And in estates, because the population is growing, we can also get return in real estate. Also, we can invest in issues of like where I am. We can invest in issues of minerals. We have most of the minerals here. We have like recently we discovered that we have an iron ore in where I am coming from, and therefore we can build industries whereby instead of importing steel, instead of importing iron, we have the raw materials here, and we can build industries which can produce steel in Africa, and this also will create jobs. Another area which I'm thinking, which also we can invest, is issue of health. We can also involve in health, because we have been, for example, in Action Aid, World Vision have been dealing with the issues of maintenance of people who have AIDS. But why should we continue getting help whereby we can also build hospitals? We can build modern hospitals in Africa, in Kenya, for example, and also help our people, because we have people who are learned, we have professionals, we have people who have gone to schools, and there are doctors here, there are nurses here. And by doing so, then we are answering, we are also making a solution of job. We are creating jobs for professionals. I think you have said about how do we create jobs for our professionals. Here we have doctors, we have teachers here, we have especially doctors here we have, and we can create kind of hospitals whereby we can also hire our own people. So what I'm saying today is that in this topic that today, or in this platform, I'm saying come and invest in Africa. There is a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of opportunities. Any, come, invest, you'll get back your return. Any. That is what I want to tell you.
I laugh.
You will get back your return.
I love the impassioned plea. I really do. I love, those who speak. I love your commitment. I love your passion. Look, and have you ever watched Dragon's Den? Michael, I'm going to come to you next, my friend. Have you ever watched Dragon's Den? No?
No, not yet. Dragon?
Okay. Dragon. There's different ones. There's Dragon's Den. There's Shark Tank. These are programs of investors who meet with people with big ideas, with good ideas, right? It's not easy, Mr. Hebron. If you watch those programs, the average investor has so many questions, and they want the numbers must work. They must, right? Look, I suppose the question of what I want now, how do we use investment to build our professionals and businesses? It may be a question of what do we need to do to our education system? Henry, I know you want to talk about that, so again, I'll come to you in a second, right? I'm saying we need to be more strategic. Investors not just going to take a chance. I'm thinking of what Dr. Isaac said earlier. The fact that there's crime and corruption in other places does not make it right in Africa. We need to, because they do it, we can do. We do it too. It doesn't make it right. It's a problem. Dr. Isaac, I do want to hear from you in terms of where's it gone? Okay. I want to hear how Dr. Isaac helps investors. Clearly, he's got a program, he's got a service that helps investors in Africa. So hopefully when he comes back, we'll hear from him. Mr. Michael, share with me. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right, Annie. I'm doing all right. And I was just listening to Hebron, and there are a couple of points that he made that are very interesting. In general, all in all, I agree with him. But I also want to indicate or emphasize that there are certain things that we need to think about in terms of what is going to affect, what is currently affecting Africa. Number one, I feel that Africans are lazy. There's laziness, right? And a huge amount of laziness, and we enveloped with laziness, and thus our thinking is not on par with the rest of the world. The reason being is because of NGOs. That is their purpose. Their purpose is to create laziness in the African people. Giving us easy money or easy relief is a true killer in our mindset orientation. We cannot orient our mind, and it utterly and absolutely supports cognitive dissonance. In other words, keeping us where they believe we need to be. And that being the case, that's one of the things that we need to get rid of. And that way we will think of ourselves and help ourselves more. And the aspect and this idea of investing in women is not something that I take lightly. It is imperative that we do it because they are the backbone to our villages, the backbone to our communities, the backbone to bringing up our children who, for many reasons, lose their fathers for all sorts of things, all kinds of things. And it's the women that remain behind to take care of these children and bring them up. And our future, our kings and our queens, are our children. We need to treat them as such and bring them up to be proper citizens of Africa. It is very important that this be taken literally. Educating them properly, providing them with the resources properly, it will ensure that our future will be changed for the better. Thank you.
Thank you. And I love it again. Another impassioned plea. No, I hear you. Ima, if you want to share with us, then I've given you this stage. Let me work on.
I do have an additional complaint, but I'll do that later when you have time.
Of course. No, I'll come right back to you. So, Ima, anything you want to say so far?
I just want to.
Okay, I'll be patient. So Dr. Vivian is one of those women you're talking about, Michael, one of the legends in Nigeria who is doing great things. So welcome, Dr. Vivian. I'm glad you're here. You have the link in your DM. If you want to join us on stage, you're more than welcome. We'd love to hear from you. Turi, I'm not. Am I a hater? Yeah, I'm a hater. Really, I'm not a hater. I'm a disappointed Nigerian. I'm a disappointed African. I'm a heartbroken Nigerian. Probably that's probably a way to describe it, right? And I would love for Africa to work. I would love to think that I might go back one day. I'm just being honest. I don't see why I would. I just don't see why I would. And I guess these conversations, I'm hoping, much like Hebron said, Pastor Hebron said, right? It is a case of, I'm hoping that when we speak good things, then we are motivated to do good things. That's why I did this room. When we speak positively, we will then be motivated to go and do positive things. And we can change, only we can change Africa, only we can change our countries. No one else can. I want us to realize that, and I want us to speak the solutions to our problems rather than just talking. I say, that's why I do what I do. And of course, I believe one day, we'll be there. Do I think it's going to be in my lifetime? I don't think so. Sadly, I really don't. I wish I did. I just don't.
Yes, Annie, it will be in your lifetime. Absolutely.
Okay.
I believe it.
I'm 50, Michael. I ain't got that long to live,
I know where you are. That's why I
I'm
know
50.
that
I'm
it will
saying,
be true.
okay, all right. Now, look, amen to your prayer, my friend. Let's go back to Ima. Ima, please, you're back on screen.
Yes, I'm just saying this lack of machinery that that is hindering us in the rice farm. And I don't know if Hebron has any solution as to what we should do with the land once we've got it and we want to utilize it, but there's no machinery.
I believe it's not the lack of machinery. I believe it's the lack of proper, what you call it, ancestral genius that we're missing. They were able to take care of themselves, given the population and land, etc., but they did it in such a manner that enabled the community to live and live properly. I believe the answer lies there.
To go back to what our ancestors did.
Yes, absolutely. The machinery will come, but you should focus on that as well. There are ideas and ways in which you can utilize the land that is better than what is being done outside of Africa.
Yep. Maybe just to add something from what Michael has said, Ima, is that I've begun doing a training of you see, the education and religion has taught us to look for things we don't have. I want to repeat that. Education and religion has made us to look for things outside us or things which we don't have. But the reality is that you have something which you can utilize. And I want to agree with Michael that the problem is not the machinery. That is the mindset. That is a mindset that has been it has been taught that because I have this massive land, I have idea of maybe food production, so I need machinery. But you don't realize that what you have. So you start from what you have or what the little you have. For example, I believe I don't know about your country, but I believe I've seen where I am. There are many people who do farming, and they started with just the doing with their hands what they could, and then the way Michael has said, the machinery will come. But first of all, you have to learn what do you have at your hand. What do you have? And I say again, let me just repeat again, that sometimes religion and education make us to look for something outside there. And all the time, it makes us feel like we are lacking something. And then we fail to utilize what we have and start with what we have. In history, I like the Bible. In history, the Bible, when God was creating man, let me just use that. When God was creating man, he used what was available. The Bible says man was created from the dust of the ground. Now imagine that, dust of the ground, something insignificant, something that was available. And when he used that, what was available, he built something that we see today. We see a human race that was built from the dust. So I think one of the things, Yima, you need to understand, or we need to learn, is that first of all, find out what do you have. and you realize that you have a lot. Even before somebody comes to help you, you have a lot. And whatever, when you start utilizing what you have, then you will attract what you don't have. That's what I believe. And I've started teaching myself and also teaching people that to identify what they have. And I think Eni has really helped me since I came here. I used to think I don't have anything until I started realizing, oh, I have this little thing, and I can use the little I have and attract the bigger that is outside there. So I think that's what I wanted to say in just supporting what Michael has said.
Thank you so much. My mind goes back to our friend Davida, who talks about how in Africa we see dust, we see sand. In the rest of the world, they will take that sand and make something and sell it to you. They see it as gold. You know, it's a mind. Pastor Herbert, I agree with it. It's a mindset thing for sure. You know, it's the way we think that makes us feel. And I might add the media might be part of our problem, Mr. Herbert. The media, especially social media these days, that makes us think we don't start on step 1, we'll start on step 100, and we don't want to just do one. No, we need to get super rich quickly tomorrow. You know, especially with no work at all. Great to have you here, my friend David. David, one of our guest speakers. When we're sitting in the audio rooms, he's in South Africa, but he runs. It's a coaching plus business growth service. So welcome, David. I'm glad you're here. I haven't seen you for a while. Thanks so much for joining us. Who else do I see? Robert, thank you for being here. Infrastructure is a huge problem. Like I said earlier, if you want to go and build roads in Nigeria, I'm sure there's many roads you can build. I'm sure there are. There are many roads you can definitely improve. Tarmac, call it what you like, right? You know, the opportunities are there. You know, Natalie says the way forward is citizen cooperatives. Yeah, maybe so, right? Like we need to help ourselves first. Is the point, I think. You know, before we start looking abroad and looking at other people. Henry, I want to come to you. Are you ready to talk, Henry? You know, and
yes,
please,
I am.
And also find Dr. Isaac. So I really want him to tell us about his service to help potential investors. But now, please share with us what you've heard so far.
Well, I mean, everyone's got valid points. The one that has been mentioned a few times is I think Pastor Hebron referred to it as relief. Especially in East Africa, we're very donation or donor centric kind of, especially here in Uganda. And yeah, I mean, it just, you see that people just seem to have this kind of, just waiting for a handout type of mentality. But I think that has killed ambition. It's killed education to a degree. And yeah, we're here now. So there's still a very long way to go. But having said that, there are lots of legitimate and successful investment vehicles around. You just need to really do some due diligence, and the rest is just hoping for the best.
Thank you so much. Again, maybe not many know Henry is that one of those people who has done the unthinkable. He's gone back to Africa from, he's British really, but he's gone back to Uganda. So, well, good on you, Henry. Good on you, my friend. Michael and Ima, I've got a question for both of you. Would you go back to Africa? Michael, you're first up.
Yes.
Michael, will you have a choice soon? I know you're in the US.
Yes. All things right and correct with respect to myself. Yes, I would. I want to go back knowing that I've got something to do and I've got something to contribute to the day I die, even if it means farming, even if it means having a piece of land and going from there and just growing it, even if having some cows to graze on that land, whatever the case may be. But yeah, I'm so in love with Africa and so in love with the place I grew up, and I'm so in love with the people. My only interest is to enable them to move forward from what I've learned in the direction that is that is positive, not negative, but positive for their health and for their wealth. But firstly, for their health, because that is more important to me than anything else in life at this particular juncture or point in time that I am in. I wanted to greet Henry Olotia Sebo, and I wanted to find out who have you accepted as your tribe, so to speak. Are you a Baganda? Are you a Busoga? A Musoga? Who are you? Are you an Acholi? Since you've accepted Uganda as a place of, I guess, respite from the United Kingdom.
Is it respite, Henry, or is it a lifetime thing now?
I'm lost. I mean, I was trying to go to. Sorry, hold on a second. I was trying to get to Ghana. I got to the airport and I said Ghana, and they thought I meant Uganda, and then up here, and I haven't been able to leave. But I plan to leave very soon. But in answer to your question, Michael, your question, I don't identify with any of them, I'm afraid. I identify as African. And I think that this is part of the problem as well, especially in Uganda. People are so divided over tribal lines and they don't trust each other, and it really stifles growth. It's not a criticism, it's just a reality. And I'm pretty sure it's the same in a lot of the other African countries. Yeah, I'm still settling down, I'm afraid.
Make me laugh, Henry. Thank you for making me laugh. Look, I think the divides between our peoples is part of our problem, as you say, Henry, and it's everywhere in Africa. Sadly, it's everywhere. I would say this: show me the market, Michael. I might go back. Otherwise, no. Maybe no. It's not. This is not for me. This is for you and Ima and the Henrys of this world, right? The ones who
I've got a market for you already. Botswana.
Who feel African, and then I'm British.
The only thing that is preventing me from going back to Africa is finance. And I have nowhere to live and no finances to support me if I were to go. Right here in England, I have an income
and I can support Africa from a distance.
Yeah, no, good on you, my friend. Good on you. Good on you.
You and I should get together.
Yeah,
you should.
Sorry.
You should. No. Dr. Isaac, I'm glad you came back. Thank you so much. I'm keen to hear your thoughts. Of course, I'm also keen to know about your service for investors. The mic is yours.
Yeah. Thank you. I just had something from the last speakers that we would like to appreciate you, and I will appreciate if the conveners of this platform can help us to form probably investment platform beside this cloud meeting, where we can meet with different people, especially those who are interested in doing something in Africa. I want to assure you that we still have some remnants who are trusted and who will not betray those of you who are coming, and also in the area of humanitarian, because sometimes also in the aspect of humanitarian, if you want to do to support the masses or the community or the middle class people fall into the wrong hands, automatically you may not also get a result of what you are doing. But I think this platform can be a very good platform to bring on board the right people, both in Africa and outside the Africa, that we can work together by building trust. Whatever you want to do, either in business or in humanitarian service providers, trust is the key. Trust is the key. And we appreciate if our convener, we try to develop a little bit trust in few of us that are here, and see how can we build investment platform where we can begin to engage in some conversations to know what everybody wants to bring on the table. Thank you, sir.
Hear what you're saying, of course. You know, I'm always willing to help to spread good news messages, especially when about people who are doing something different, and clearly you are, Dr. Isaac. You know, so there's two ways. Like I said, there's two ways that we can carry on. You know, like I said, I'm happy to support you to host events and bring people together to hear the opportunities that you want them to consider. That's doable. Yeah, so I tend to grant everyone one event, and then after that, my time is not free. Let me just put it that way. So let's talk. Let's talk. Now, I say let's talk. Let's find a way. I dare say, many of the people that are here today are going to be the ones who will engage and potentially support the work that you're doing. I don't expect there will be. Oh no, more people will turn up, because if we say you can make money, then they don't turn up. Many Africans will turn up. Do I know who will want to invest or spend their money towards in Africa? No, of course not. So I say, but now let's talk. Let's work on an event. The other way you can do it is, one of my friends here in the audience, Margaret, hosts events. She hosts great events, of course. Natalie hosts great events too. She's very nice. These two are African-centric. Dr. Vivian hosts events as well, by the way. I'm saying that these are African people who are powerhouses about African issues. I know David hosts events too. Dr. Allo, Pastor Allo was hosting audio events. I don't know what they're doing lives. I'm sure he is. So I'm saying there's people who can help you. Not everyone needs any, because any is valuable, and any is, any has many things to do, and you have to make it worth my while for me to turn up too many times, right? But let's talk, and I'm sure I'll grant you one event at least, and then from there you can decide. You can even do your event yourself. It's who do you invite and how do you make it work? That's the difference between my event and other events. Now, Pastor Allo, thank you for being here. So glad you're here. Pastor Allo has written several books, and he's asking a good question. I think which you have to consider, right? He says, this is Natalie's comment. What are your top 3 good to know tips about investing in Africa? They need to be different from one another, please. Yeah, good luck with that. Pastor Pastor Hebron, I'll let you speak first. What are your 3 big tips for investing in Africa?
Sorry, did I get you?
What are your 3 good to know tips about investing in Africa?
Okay. Number 1 is that Africa is still a lot of opportunities. So it's still virgin, and I think it's a place where you can explore a lot. And number 2, I believe now everything is turning back to Africa, whereby now we begin to use African to produce our own things, because we have the raw material, and for many years we have not understood that we have raw materials and we can produce our own products from our own materials. And then the last thing I think I want to say is that I think this is the time for Africa. It's a time for Africa to grow economically and to become economically stable by being built by Africans themselves. So I think those are some sort of thing I think I'm thinking in my head, and I really need to have more conversation about us African waking up and building our African, because we are the solution for Africa. Thank you.
Beautifully said, my friend. Beautifully said. No, 3 great tips there. Henry, what's your 3 big tips?
I think that maybe the first most important one is having the right connections, qualifying your connections. You know, you'll get lots of people who will tell you that they can introduce you to so and so, and they can do this, that, whatever. If you're desperate, or you're looking for shortcuts, then you'll probably end up in the wrong place. So you need to take your time, qualify your contacts, make sure that they're the right people. That's number 1. Number 2, gosh, I'm going to struggle with this. Can I come back to you?
Yeah, of course you can. Of course you can. Of course you can. So now let's go to Emma, and then we'll go to Dr. Isaac. So Emma, what are your 3 big tips? 3 good to know tips?
My first tip is that the agricultural business in Africa is booming, and it's a business that you can invest in, and you can be sure for a return, because what we're doing now in Africa is that we are importing our food, whereas we have huge lands, laying fertile lands that we can use and sell to our own people. We don't have to export. We have the market right there under us.
Yeah. Superb. No, well said, my friend. Well said. Beautifully said. I will say that I do want to go to Dr. Allo's point earlier. Pastor Hebron, you are looking great. We're all looking great. I think you're all looking great, and I never include myself in that, right? You all look. Now, thank you so much, everyone that's shared with us. I just say that we've learned a lot from you, and I would say on this event, if we can change one person's mind, get one person to think differently, then we're talking. Davida, you found us. Oh, Davida, so great to have you here. If you haven't heard Davida speak, she's a HR specialist, but she's a truth teller about Africa. And she's one of my co-hosts for this show. It's me, her, and Pastor Hebron. Because Davida is the one that will tell you the stone cold truth, unwatered, unsalted, about what it's really like in Africa. And I said, I would love to hear your thought, Davida. I'm so glad you're here. It's a matter of time, right? Now you're here. The next thing is to bring you up on stage and have you share your genius with us. Thank you so much. If you don't know who I say, go in the comments and connect with each other, my friends. So the coach mentioned it earlier. We're not very good at making friends with fellow Africans. Let's learn to build those connections, and more than that, let's talk to each other. Let's find out what each other are doing. Let's see how we can support each other. That's how LinkedIn works, really. It was no, all of that is done when you go to the events page in the comment section, and then just hitting people that resonate with you, hitting their picture, and you tend to go to their profile, either send a connection request or start a conversation. That's a way forward. Dr. Isaac, what are your 3 big points? Mr. Curtis, I see you. Never too late to join us, my friends, and I appreciate every minute anyone spends with us. I'm glad you're here. Dr. Isaac, what is your 3 good to know things for investing in Africa?
Come again.
What are your top 3 good to know tips about investing in Africa?
I can't hear that question very well. The platform is very cracking.
Okay, is that better, or are you still struggling? No, there's interference somewhere. Let me mute Iman. Let me see if that works. I'll mute you too, Pastor Hebron. Right. Oh, Henry, help! I don't know if Henry can. All right.
What's happened?
It's crackly on Dr. Isaac's side, so he can't hear us, but we can hear him.
Right. Okay.
So I wanted to answer the 3 good to know tips about investing in Africa. That's what I would like to speak about. See, I knew it, Pastor Allo. I knew it. They say you're all looking great and awesome. I agree. They all look amazing. And that's a good thing, right? What does Natalie say? Many Africans like to barter for everything. Natalie, maybe I think that's a topic in itself, Nat. I'll bring that back next time. Let's talk about it. The reason I say that is, as much as you think it makes business accessible and inclusive, I think it is part of our mindset problem. I've had, say my friends have been good to me. They've referred 3 Africans to me recently to publish their books, right? And all of them say, what's your best price? I'm saying, I have a price. It's no best price. There's a price, right? Are you going to pay the price or not? One has paid the price. The other 2 are still muttering, expecting me to give them a discount. I don't give discounts. I give you a price. I think we like to drag each other down when we start bartering. And most of the time, when we try and barter that, I think what we're saying is I don't really want it. In England, if you barter with me, Natalie, it means that you're interested in buying. Can I give you something that will make it a bit easier for you to buy? When a Nigerian wants to barter with me, I know we're going nowhere at all. Because all they're trying to do is either ruin my business or get what I do for next to nothing. And I can't have that. I tend to say to them, look, off you go, goodbye, bye-bye. That's that. Anyway, we'll talk about it next time, Natalie. Let's talk about bartering as a form of trading. In Africa. Is it good or bad? Where am I? I've lost where I am. Dr. Isaac, you're back.
Yes.
Okay, so now the question we had for you, my friend. Oh, the echo, right? The echo. So the question we had for you is, what are your top 3 good to know tips? It seems like my screen is duplicated. Okay.
Yes.
Can
you hear me better?
The mic is yours.
Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, clearly.
Okay. Number 1, you need to know that African is now the alternative investing grant for investors now, with some of the challenges going on. Okay, let's take for example, if you invested, you have your money, you look at California, for example, which is, you can say that oh, it's a very saving environment in time of security, in time of guarantee of your investment. But you look at the natural disasters that happen the other time in that area. So African is still a place which is environmental friendly in time of natural disasters. So when you bring, you can have, there's still a low risk into investment. The only thing is going through a right channel to put your investment. Then number two, there is need for those, because of the fear of the risk that some of our African or Pan-Africanists are afraid of taking the risk of their investment. So the Chinese and the Asians are now taking that advantage by taking over the ground from the Africans' descendants. So there is need for us to know that African is still a better place where you can put your money and get it back. Even in the aspect of mining, the mining sectors, we have a lot of people that have a mining site, but they don't have equipment and to mine them. That's why the Chinese will come in, bring their money. For example, in Sierra Leone, I have a team there. I have a friend there. They took our company, they took our team to their mining site, but only what we lack is equipment. So you find out that the moment the Chinese comes in and discover that there is a minerals in a particular place, they go into agreement with the villagers, with the community and the government, and they bring in their equipment. And remember that they take much more than what they are investing into that place. So let's take if we want to really stop the second colonization in Africa, there is need for African descendants to comes in. Let us just take the risk together, and I believe that we get something good out of it. Then the last one which we want to know is that what some of you are reading on social media regarding to the issue of corruption is not as much as you are reading about it. So I want you to know that things can easily change, and it can change, and that changes begin with you and I. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Again, I love the end. Henry, you're a genius. I love the end. The change does begin with you and I, my friends. In case you're wondering, Natalie, because you said all of us, I guess I have to, I take my chance to speak as well. I get it. There's opportunities in Africa, much like nowhere else. Almost every sector is primed for growth. Every sector is ready for growth. Whether it's from technology, fintech, even AI, down to the manufacturing, down to farming. We have an opportunity to create something amazing if we put our money in Africa, right? And also, I will say, Africa has, it's got a youth. It's got a labor force that you can't get anywhere else. And the cost is normally less than it will cost us here and in our parts of the world. So we have the youth. We have the youth. We have the labor. We have the opportunity. And I think we can create businesses. This is what my room is about, really. I think we can create businesses that really can grow, can flourish. So we have some good skills. Many of my freelancers are in Africa for that reason. So that's my three, my friends. The opportunities are there. Let's leverage them. But as Dr. Isaac said, it starts with you and me. I put my money in people in Africa. I guess it's more about staffing and getting services rather than investing in terms of buying assets or throwing my money into big schemes that I don't know where the return's going to come from. But no, I will thank you all. Pastor Hebron, I think you had your hand up. Anything you want to say before we go? You're muted, I think. I might have muted you. Your mic is muted. So unmute before you start talking, please. Oh, hopefully your screen hasn't frozen. Then Natalie's got another great question. Nat, we have to go. Do you think Africans might come together? So Pastor Hebron, you're still muted. You're still muted. I don't know why you're still muted. It's not me. I can't unmute you. I'm trying. You need to press that unmute button, bottom of your screen. Oh no. Yeah, he'll come back. Right. Do you think African people might come together for a campaign and petition to share with the regional and Central African government to have international business studies taught as standard in African schools? Big question. That's a big question. Do I think they can? Do I think they will? I have no idea. They can. Will they? Pastor Hebron, you're back. Excellent.
Well, I was saying that thank you very much for your time and this platform. I really enjoy the discussion, and I think let's keep on talking.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the answer to this question. We talk about the issues, and eventually we'll get through to someone or people who can action the things we're talking about. And so that's one way of looking at it. Whether they're in government or in education, I'm saying that eventually the right people will hear us. But as you said, Pastor Hebron, we keep talking, we keep sharing ideas, keep sharing good intentions, right? And eventually, that's how you make a difference. It doesn't happen overnight, but you carry on. And again, the point is, each of us has a role to play in changing our society, in creating a society that we want. Let's be the people who actually do, rather than just talk, right? So, thank you so much, everyone that's been here. Thank you so much. And I said, our next topic, let's talk about bartering. Is it bartering, or is it are Africans ever willing to pay the price? Yeah, that's the question I really want to ask. But please do join us in 2 weeks' time, and let's talk and let's work out something. Let's learn something from each other, right? Thank you, Henry. You're a star, Dr. Isaac. So we're gonna have to meet again. Actually, sort this out once and for all, and get your show on the road. Ima, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your genius with us. Ima does amazing work, to support the African community. You've heard us talk about it today. Do connect with her and do see whether we can support each other. She certainly deserves our support. I say that much for sure. But thank you all. Look, do go and comment. Do go and connect, and do have those conversations. That's how we.
Yeah.
That's how we.
Yeah, thank you once again. We appreciate you, but please kindly create a platform where we can connect with people who are interested in doing something in Africa.
Like I say, this time we'll talk to Dr. Isaac, and we're creating events just for you, right? We're creating events for you. Yes, many of the friends who are here today will join us, but I say, let's create an event and talk about investing in Africa, and those who want to give support to existing or not-for-profit schemes type ideas, right? So we'll have an event in the next few weeks, my friend. But thank you, everyone. Thank you, David, as well. We do miss you, David. David, we actually do miss you, right? Do come and join us on stage next time. I'll make sure I share the link with you. So have a great evening. Have a great night. I'm going to play my outgoing music. Thank you so much, everyone. Enjoy your evening.
Thank you. Please, bed.